And so, it all comes to this. Welcome back to the ADAC GT Masters Esports Championship, to round 7 of 7 in the online season, to round 7 of 8, of course, of the calendar overall. This is it. Crunch time official. If you end today within the top 20 of the Drivers' Championship, then you qualify for the live final at the Tuning World Bodensee, and all of that's going to be contested over the next hour and a half. It's same as per usual, 15 minutes of qualifying, a 60-minute race with a mandatory pit stop. And I'm sure you are very much the same as us two here in the commentary booth. We're excited. Let's get this broadcast underway. I'm James Kirk, joined, of course, by Mr. Robert Wiesenmüller. And Rob, for our final round of the online season, we travel to a real classic, one of the German Grand Prix homes, to the home of many an overtake as well, which should lead to an incredible race. We travel, of course, to the Hockenheimring.
Hello everyone, hello James. Yes indeed, the last race of the online championship, ADAC GT Masters Esports on RaceRoom Racing Experience, of course. And you know, what better track could it be than one of the true classics in German motor racing, the Hockenheimring. Traditionally, end of the season, won't be the end of the season in the real GT Masters in the next year, then it will be the Sachsenring. It's still one of the true classics, and we've got a lot of action coming up, an exciting title fight, and also finally, balance of performance update.
Oh boy, I can already see the chat jumping up for joy. Yes, it's here at the final round of the online season, the much coveted balance of power update. So far this season, it's been very much a Porsche versus Corvette situation. We know it well. It's seen some incredible battles regardless. But now, there are some cats amongst the pigeons. Yes, we still have the Corvettes. Yes, we still have the Porsches. But we have some interesting connotations in regard to the Drivers' Championship as well. Our championship leader, Florian Hasse, interestingly going with the Audi, which in theory, over what would have been the season with this current balance of power update, it would have made sense back then. For the Hockenheimring, it's an interesting choice, and you can see why when others have favoured the Mercedes, the likes of Ben Spunky, Alexandre Vermont as well, Jan Courtois. They see the power in that car, and they see it working very well around this Hockenheimring circuit.
Yes indeed, the Mercedes, especially the Mercedes, has been very popular here amongst the drivers. Improved now, hasn't gained more power, but you will feel that it's very fast on the straight. It always had this power, now it just goes a little bit better through the corners. So you can see here Ben Spunky, also his teammate Alexandre Romand, they've swapped. And of course these are the drivers here. One debutant, Johannes Weiss, who won 3 times in the second server, also now in the Mercedes. He drove in the BMW before. Good to see him in the race here. And yeah, practice is already over, so maybe when we swap into the qualifying session here, we will just take a look at the championship standings.
And so it is like this, and we apologise, by the way, if there's any audio issues. We're looking to remedy that as soon as possible. But it's pretty much at this point a top 3 situation. Hasse in first, Heathy in second, Bunky in third. We do have some permutations in the way of, from top to bottom, the minimum that needs to happen, or rather the end game scenario for things to happen. So let's put it this way: if Hasse wins, then there's no real need to talk about it. If he wins, he scores more points than everyone else, he wins the championship. Keithley, if he wins, would require Hasse to be P6 on the road. Bent Bunky, if he was to win, needs Keithley to be P4 and Hasse to be P13. So those are the basic scenarios. If one of those 3 guys wins, that's what needs to happen elsewhere on the road for them to take the lead of the championship. Of course, there's the whole drop score situation, which has been accounted into these calculations. And yeah, I feel like in this sort of situation, Rob, it really does favour, to a large extent, the guy who is in control of the championship, because yes, you do score points if you finish the race in this championship. However, with the amount of points on offer for a win, 100 by the way, it's an awful lot, you do have to perform very well if you are behind in order to claw your way back in.
Yes, but I think this championship couldn't have, you know, turned out more interesting than this, because both Hasse and Bunky have swapped the cars, and yeah, it's just a very just very interesting situation in general, I would say. And no one really knows how good the Mercedes and the Audi are here in the action. What we know is that the Mercedes is very fast on the straight, that we already found out. So let's go on board here with Alexandre Bromont, who's already through the first sector, or coming up into the hairpin, hardest braking zone on the track. First gear corner, you have to be careful accelerating out of here. Very nice job. Now we come up to the very fast right-hander where Jules Gounod had a very horrible crash 2 years ago, or 3 years ago by now. Into the Mercedes corner, Mercedes Tribune there, you can see it. Now this corner, which can be flat out if you hit it right, from a little bit on the grass, goes wide here, and that's his lap pretty much over already, because he will get track limits there. He runs too wide. Now the Mobile 1 corner, into the Motodrome, into the Sachskurve. Many title dreams have ended here. Sebastian Vettel has been in this tire barrier there at the end of the Sachskurve. Now the final corners. Südkurve. Third gear, maybe second gear in some of the cars. More staying in third. Accelerating out. To start and finish straight.
It is not the most complicated of tracks. In fact, I'd say that it's more individual corners that catch out people. Like the Sachs curve, very much like the first corner of the Nord curve. I'd argue one of the most difficult first corners. Excuse me. In motorsport, purely by how quickly and sharply you are taking it. Ben's Bunky going up onto provisional pole position there. And I think that I missed something as well in championship permutations. Yes, I did. So the one connotation that we didn't talk about was, where does Hasse need to finish in order to win regardless? You know, we talked about him. If he wins, it doesn't really matter. He needs to win. He needs to finish at least 5th on the road for nobody else to be able to catch him. So if he finishes 5th, he wins the championship. Simple as that. But speaking of, here he is on track. He's just about to set his first time. P4 is not at all bad, Rob. Again, we question his sanity a little in choosing the Audi at this track of all places to go to. But you know what? If he qualifies in and around the top 10, that's not really any different to where he's qualified throughout the entirety of the season. A reminder, guys, he's not won a race. It's through sheer consistency that he finds himself in this position.
Yes, that's true, but I think the main disadvantage he's going to have in the Audi is trying to pass people because of the straight line disadvantage. It's kind of the same problem that the Porsches had, and you could see it very clearly at the Red Bull Ring. And now here at the Hockenheimring, we have one of the, faster circuits on the calendar. And with the Corvette, he always had a lot of speed on the straights, and with the Mercedes, they have it as well. Bunky currently leading. Oh, and there's Keithley, 36.1, faster than the fastest pre-qualifying time from Lerner. So Keithley on form. He needs this win. And if they would finish the race like this qualifying session now, Keithley would win the championship. But Hasse very close to the sectors of Keithley there. Just 100th back at the moment, so this is a very good lap from Florian Hasse.
It's one of the many home circuits that he travels to, of course. Germany, the most prominent country on our calendar. For good reason as well. There's a lot of good tracks in there. And our championship leader rounds the final corner. It was a decent first lap. He's in P6. Surely this is going to improve.
Wow.
And improve it does. A 136.067. Rob, we were talking to each other before the broadcast. If someone hits a 35, that might just be pole position. Haas has done everything but that.
Yeah, and maybe we have just been proven wrong here with the Audi. Maybe this Audi is good enough to take the first, for Hasse to take his first victory even. the season, because that is a fantastic time. Florian Hasse on provisional pole position, ahead of Keithley and Bunky. Then Alexandre Vromont, who also swapped to the Mercedes, and Michael Rechel, the fastest of the Corvettes in P5, ahead of Johannes Weiss. So shout out to Johannes Weiss, our debutant here in Server 2, in Server 1 of course. Did a lot of races in Server 2, won 3 times. Certainly someone with the quality to drive in Server 1, and he's showing it here once again.
So P6 as well. I mean, that's incredibly good.
Faster than Risto Kappet in the same car. Kappet in 7th, and then Moritz Löhner in 8th. And talking about Moritz Löhner, he has achieved something. He has won the Time Attack Championship. Here you can see Moritz Löhner on your screen. He's won the Time Attack Championship. So in all of these qualifiers that happen for the races, where you can just participate the whole time, try to improve your lap time, he was the best overall. He beat Keithley, he beat Hasse, he beat Rechel and Bunky as well. Congratulations to Moritz Löhner. Great achievement for him. Sitting in P4 in the overall multiplayer championship. This will be pretty difficult for him to win it. Still great to see sort of performance on the hot laps for Moritz.
And that's why you don't sandbag. Simply put, that's why you don't sandbag. You win a Time Attack Championship. Very well done to Moritz Löhner, of course. Not a winner this time around, but a 2 times podium sitter in the championship, and he's had a bit of an exciting campaign, to say the least. He's had half an exciting campaign. Manuel Zingaffinen, he seems to have gotten better with every single round. Unfortunately, struggling an awful lot today. His twin brother, actually, Julian Zingaffinen, also set to take part in this race. They're sitting P29 and P30, yet to set a lap time, along with Nikodem Wisniewski, who returns to the field. But certainly someone looking very good indeed is Bence Bunky, a purple Sector 1. That means that he's the fastest out on track. It's to be expected, honestly, with the power of that Mercedes. Alexandre Vromont just jumps above him briefly, up into P3. I imagine that the way that Bence is going on this lap, however, that P3 at the very least will be taken back.
And these Oscaro drivers, they've certainly figured out this Mercedes very, very quickly. And Bunky almost same time as Hasse here. In the final sector. The Audi might have a little bit of an advantage in the final sector, though.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can bring it through.
And the first 2 sectors are very much Mercedes territory. I look to the Audi and the Porsche and I think, you know what, they actually are probably better suited to this final sector, certainly. Very tight and twisty.
But that was a good line. Bit over the grass, but still carried a lot of momentum. But it's not an improvement. He stays in P4, stays behind his teammate Vromont.
It is actually an improvement on his time, but it's by hundredths more than anything. So very disappointing there. Jack Keithley now with a purple first Sector 1. And a final reminder, by the way, as we head towards the final 5 minutes of this session, that as per always with RaceRoom Racing Experience official esports qualifying sessions, once that timer hits 0, that is qualifying over. No finishing the lap you're on. And so these laps, oh so important. And Keithley, how many times has he done this, Rob? When it matters, he knows when to put the power down. He knows where to extract the time from. A purple first Sector 1, a purple first Sector 2. He's taken pole position 3 times previously before in this season. Is it going to be pole number 4 for Jack Keithley? It's looking very good for him indeed. And there it is, a 136.049 again. Hundredths between himself and Florian Hasse in second, but for the moment, it's enough.
Great lap by Jack Keithley once again. Over half a second faster than the second fastest Porsche at the moment, Brzezinski in P8. So once again, Keithley just showing his quality in this car. And Risto Kappet about to cross the line. The Estonian from AC Azak Speed stays in P7.
He had a very eventful round last time, did Risto Kappet, a number of penalties galore as Johannes Weiss goes up into P5. P5 on debut in Server 1 would be outstanding, and I know people might go, oh, the car's too strong. Johannes Weiss is a 3 times winner in Server 2. He's gotten a lot of points through his own accord. He's not one to necessarily just dismiss because of a balance of power update. He's a fast driver, believe you me, and I'm excited to see him really tussling with the top boys in Server 1. Michael Rechel as well, of course, his first podium scored in the season in official esports competitions last time out. And looking to follow that up with another strong result. One of our youngest drivers in the field. Goes a little bit wide there at the penultimate corner. Wraps it back in for the final. Goes a little bit wide on exit at the final corner as well, although that is allowed. And that's an improvement for Rechel up to P5. Weiss down to P6.
Yeah, and also the Corvettes, they just seem to be struggling here a little bit. Rechel, the only one at the front of the field, really. Of course, we lost Banki and Romont and Hasse as well.
Gaffnen's up to P10.
Yeah, he's up in P10, but then where's the next one? It's Panebianco in P15. Honsik only in 17 and Baldi only in P20.
Yeah, that is a surprise. Stefanko P23 even. And I know that we were talking about Corvettes, but it is a big surprise to see Martin Stefanko all the way down there. After a season that started so strongly, it just seems to have petered away a little.
Yeah, big surprise to see him so far down. And it's not really the Mercedes that are ahead of him. Of course, Weiss and Matzik maybe might not be ahead of him otherwise. But also a lot of Porsche drivers like Vella, like Benedek, like Antonov and Puglisi, who are usually behind him in the qualifying session, currently outperforming him at the moment.
And so with just under 2.5 minutes to go, I should say rather, so if you're out on track and you're about to set a lap, then this will probably be your last attempt. It's Keithley on provisional pole from Hasse and Banki, our 3 championship protagonists, all in the top 3. I'd be happy if qualifying ended now, to be honest, but that would ruin the tension of the final couple of minutes. Here comes Guillaume Teilhard then, the Monegasque driver. Oh, went a little deep there, didn't hit the apex. He did slow it down enough in time not to go wide. Anything better than P21 would be decent for Guillaume Teilhard, and a P15 won't be too shabby at all. Around the final corner now comes the Porsche Vini Oliveira. Great to see the Brazilian finally taking part. Not so great, sadly, to see him languishing down there in P26. And Rob, there is a lot of drivers who are calling it a day. The only one in that top 6 who's going to try and set a final lap is Florian Hasse, but it's an awful Sector 1. He's 5/10 down.
Yeah, I think he can already forget this lap here. Let's maybe have a look at Zangaffinen, who has a green second sector. Very good second sector. So that could be a big improvement for Zangaffinen. Oh, up to P5. Best Corvette.
Lovely.
Nice job.
Out-qualifying Mikko Rechel there. And so he is going to be confirmed top Corvette this time around. Bristow Capit. Green Sector 1 for the Estonian. Very slidey on entrance there into the Mercedes corner. Maybe preferring that sort of a setup. The ACR Zaxby driver, of course, driving in the official ACR car. It's an average second sector. And I think, honestly...
that's a mistake.
And that's a big mistake. And he's going to end up in the aforementioned wall at the Zax corner. Not, of course, that he's qualifying, or not, of course, that he's looking to battle for the championship, but P8 is as good as it's going to get for him. And now Martin Stefanko really does need a good lap. Here come the official results, but Stefanko still has the final couple of corners to navigate. This should be a time that sees him within the top 20 at the very least. Round the final corner, Martin Stefanko in the Porsche. And no!
It's not an improvement, still P23. You see the results. Congratulations to Jack Keithley, pole position once again. BOP update, it doesn't bother him. He's on pole as usual, as we almost have to say. Ahead of Florian Hasse in the Audi now, and then Ben Spanky and Alex Romont, the 2 Oscaro drivers, on the second row. So, here we go, 60 minutes of racing, mandatory pit stop. Once again for you, the championship standings. Hasse on 445, Keithley 415, Banky on 400 points.
I was looking at the wrong stat. That's actually Keithley's 5th pole position of the season. So the only ones to stop him from taking a pole position was, of course, Brzezinski at the first round of the season and Andre Santos at the Red Bull Ring. Here, of course, our championship protagonists, Jack Keithley, Florian Hasse, and, of course, Ben Spunky, the reigning EWTCR champion, so has experience at the top level of RaceRoom Esports. It is important to remind you as well that if these guys finish in the order that they start, Hasse is the champion. That's the connotation. But of course, there's 60 minutes ahead. And everything can change. The 5 lights will illuminate above the drivers' heads. The engine revs will rise. And here at the Hockenheimring, we're away, we're racing for the final round of the online season. And Jack Keithley, as he has done many times before, gets a great start, leading through turn 1. Hasser as well, fending off Ben Spunky, and this top 3 seems to have just been given a different set of lights. They're already clear of the rest of the field as they're going 4 wide into turn 2 behind. Just trying to move and shake their way about. It's Zengaffinen who seems to have come off the best there, maintaining his P5. Risto Kapitz lost the position, so Kuba Brzezinski moving up into P8. A great start for the Polish driver. His compatriot Nikitin Wisniewski as well, rounding out the top 10 as we head down towards the hairpin. And immediately, as Florian Hasser on the defensive, he is able to keep Ben Spunky behind, and it gets a little bit tight through there with more cars going 2-3 wide as someone's in the wall, and that's Nikitin Wisniewski. The guy cannot catch a break, and he's rejoined right at the back of the field. But for Florian Hasser, at least, Rob, looking at this from a bigger championship perspective, it's going well for him. All he needs to do is finish P5, and he's managed to hold on to that P2.
And you could already see on the straight that he has a lot of work there to defend against Ben Spunky, to defend against the power of the Mercedes. And Keithley, once again, we've seen this so often from him. He's just gapping the field immediately. Fantastic start from Jack Keithley, taking the lead ahead of Hasse. He's doing everything that he can, but you're right. If the championship stays like this, if the race stays like this, then Florian Hasse is going to take the championship victory.
At the end of lap 1, it is Keithley who leads from Hasse, Banki, Thromont, Zengaffinen, Weiss, Rechel, Capit, Brzezinski, and Puglitzi, who's had a pretty good start, actually. The Italian up into P2, and immediately on the attack now is Ben Spunky looking to the outside of turn number 2. Again, Hasse has the inside. And a reminder to you guys who are more used to the Formula 1 and the DTM around this circuit, of course, in the RDSC GT Masters Championship, we have no DRS, and so it's just relying on that natural slipstreaming. That said, a lot of slipstreaming Ben Spunky's going to do with the grunt of that Mercedes is going to give him a very good opportunity to take him down on the outside of the hairpin. But then again, Hasse, braking so beautifully, but a little bit too deep. And this is going to allow Ben Spunky another little shot through turn 7. Alongside the Audi, he's going to go now. And he's going to be forced to try and make this maneuver, complete this maneuver around the outside of the Mercedes arena. Late braking from Florian Hasse. And that's outstanding defense. But Ben Spunky gets him on the cutback. And through turns 9 and 10, the move is completed. Excellent racing, fair racing. And Ben Spunky comes out on top.
Oh, now Florian Hasse, now he has to watch out that he doesn't fall into the clutches of Alexander Roman. Maybe it's better for him just to try to stay in the slipstream of Bunky here. Just to try to get away from the rest of the pack. Because they are all chasing him down here. Zengaffinen, Weiss, Rechel, Capet. Brzezinski as well. You know, actually the Williams drivers, they're all kind of far down. What happened to Moritz Löhner?
What did happen to Moritz Löhner? To be fair, I didn't even see him qualify.
He was qualified. He was in the top 10, but towards the bottom of the top 10. But definitely involved in an accident here. Gergo Baldi as well. P29 only.
Well, I think that tells its own story, doesn't it? Wisniewski was into the wall of his own accord. I presume that Gergo Baldi and Moritz Löhner have found each other in the worst possible way. Someone to this back straight, and I am worried for Florian Hasse. Because it was all looking so rosy when he was in P2. But looking at how close Ps 4 and 5 are behind him, a reminder that if Jack Keithley wins the race, then Florian Hasse has to finish P6 at least in order to keep him behind. Actually,
Yeah,
no, I lied.
He has to finish P5.
He has to finish P5, yeah. Hasse finishes P6 and Keithley wins if he wins. And so as much as he's in a good position now, Rob, he really does need to keep his eyes and ears about him. He needs to be keeping a tabs of who he needs to deliberately fight harder than others, perhaps. Banki, he can let get away. In fact, it might be beneficial for Banki to try and catch Jack Keithley down. But as time continues to tick on, we look at Vermont, we look at Zengaffinen, and they are getting a bit too close for comfort.
Yes, indeed, and qualifying pace was so amazing. Now in the race pace, it doesn't look quite as good. Oh, I think that's a slowdown for Zengaffinen there.
Yep.
Oh, that costs him a lot of places. Close behind Risto Capet now. Once again, hard over the curb. Could pick up another slowdown there if he's not careful. Very easy on the Hockenheimring to pick up a slowdown there. Because you can actually go onto the curb, but not over it. Easy here.
Yeah. He's looking very eager indeed. He's going to be tucked up in the slipstream of Brzezinski ahead. Roman Ivanov and Panabianco in the Corvette as well, behind in this train of 4.
Just received a question on the point system, by the way. So 100 points for a victory, 90 points for second place, then 85, 80, 75, 70, and so on. There's one drop score. Ooh, I think that's
and
Ivanov.
Round goes Ivanov, yep. Kept it out the wall, it looks like, but he's lost a handful of positions in that mini spin. And that was a lovely little move from Puglisi. Left it a little bit late, but the door was open. And is that Teot or who is
I think that's Teot, and he has got huge damage at the front of his Mercedes.
I don't even know how that happened. Was that contact with someone else? It must have been to go into the wall.
It must have been contact with the wall. He's dropping back there. Timing didn't even really register him on the sector, so he jumped into the lead for a quick moment. Yeah, that's what can happen with the Mercedes. I mean, it's very fast. It's also quite tricky to drive because it has a lot of power.
No shame there for the Monegasque driver. All really holding up there. Valent Benedek, and choosing to continue on is Guillaume Teot, clearly struggling with understeering that car, and Benedek has no idea of where to go.
And this corner will be the worst for Teot. You can just see how much time Benedek gains, and Benedek wasn't even all the way over the curb. But on the straight, it's very hard to make a move for the Porsche. Now on the braking, he will go on the inside.
Oh, that's nice.
Teot tries to close the door late, but Benedek is through. Now can he even keep the position here on the long straight?
By value having... Actually, would it be better to have
I think
those front bumper
I
down
think
the
it's now
straight?
even faster, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, of course, it's terrible around the rest of the circuit, but at least you'll be able to go up alongside Valent Benedek.
Yeah, but it's
not
quite
even
enough.
that Benedek defense, yeah.
Oh, and in the background, I think Zarebiak and Stefanko, who's now made his way up to P18. Slowdown penalty for Zarebiak there. And not the race that Stefanko was hoping for, certainly.
I mean,
Meanwhile, Wisniewski and Baldi both out of the race.
Yeah. No surprise there. Reminded, it's the top 20 that qualify for the live. Well, actually, it's the top 20 that confirm their places at the Tuning World Bodensee. Of course, it's a very different format for our live final with 2 drivers per car. And there are probably going to be a couple of people inside the top 20 who decide to partner up with each other.
Oh, what happened to Hasse? Oh, what happened to Hasse?
What is that's got to be lag, surely. That's got to be lag, surely. And he's down to P8 because of it. Well, championship has changed hands. Jack Keithley is now in the lead on points if things were to finish as they are.
Wow. Looked like a screen freeze or something disconnecting for Florian Hasse. But he is still going. It's unbelievable. He's now all the way back to P8. And what looked like a pretty good opportunity for Hasse. Ooh, very sideways there, trying to go past Sangaffinen. Now he really has to work for it.
If plan A was to drive the car comfortably and just stay ahead of others without overtaking, that has been thrown out the window. Mind you, Florian Hasse has been very good in the past when it comes to pit stop strategy, Rob. And with everyone still so close together, I mean, this little train goes all the way up to Michael Reckler at P5, of which that's the position he needs to gain in order to retake the championship lead. I don't think this race is out of his hands just yet. Yes, it's a major setback, but it's something that he can overcome.
Let's see if he can make the necessary progress here in the race. Now he really has to work for it, and now we can see how good he is in the battle with this Audi.
in sight as well. I don't think it's all over for him, as the first 10 minutes have elapsed then of this final round in the online season. Drama already. Gogo Baldi out, Nikodem Wisniewski out. And our championship leader outside of the places which he needs to finish in order to confirm that championship. Further down the order, I think that was Teot exchanging positions, Zarebiec and Oliveira. And oh, it looks like there's been a bit of contact somewhere, because they're all moving about. Ultimately, Zarebiec coming out. Actually, no, I lied. Bamela, the one coming out on top in that particular situation. But Florian Hasse still staring at the back of Manuel Zingaffinen. This Corvette might not be the best car around this circuit, but it's good enough to keep Hasse behind for the moment.
Taking a look from Zingaffinen.
Of course, the negative here is that he's going to be providing a load of dirty air for Florian Hasse to drive into. And it doesn't matter how nice your car is to drive, if you're going into dirty air, you're going to be struggling.
Well, dirty air in the corners, but also slipstream on the straights. We'll see how long Hasse will wait until he makes a move. Of course, there's also the pit stops. Pit stop window is going to open relatively quickly. From what we understand, the Audi might be quite good on tire wear.
So he might, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, to be fair, we've had so many races this year where all 4 tyres have been taken off. Oh, is that a slowdown for Hasse as well? So how did he get a slowdown and Zingaffinen didn't? Because it looked like Zingaffinen went wider to me.
Maybe Zingaffinen got a slowdown as well, he just hasn't taken it yet. That is a possibility as well.
Bad to worse for Florian Hasse then, at least in the short term. He's almost falling into the hands of Puglisi and Brzezinski as well. Oh, as Zingaffinen goes massively wide off the circuit, it's like he completely forgot to brake. And well, there's one free position for Florian Hasse at least. He's back up to P7.
But he's already almost 4 seconds down on Risto Capet. He's got Michael Rechel, his teammate, ahead of him, so maybe a little bit of support there, but at the moment, it's all playing into the hands of Jack Keithley.
Yeah, these front two have very much just stayed away from the rest of the pack, and as much as Keithley is controlling the race, Benz Bunkie provides an imminent threat, to say the least. These ex-teammates, of course, they used to both drive for ACR Zach Speed, now at Pastures New. Jack Keithley with Williams, and Benz Bunkie with Escado. I wonder if Benz Bunkie can throw a spanner in the works here.
Yeah, we haven't talked about him so much, but he's showing a consistent pace here. Very good performance from Benz Bunkie. There can be a lot of puns with this name, you know, in this car. Mercedes-Benz.
Haha.
Leading ahead of 2 more. Alexandre Vromor and Johannes Weiss.
Oh, what if Weiss gets a podium on debut in Server 1? That'd be incredible. And actually, just briefly touching back on the point which I realised I completely went off, as Zach Capit and Rachel going into battle as well. I keep on distracting myself. So, before, we've seen 4 tyre change strategies become quite common. Here, it's not the most challenging of circuits on the tyres. So, as Benz Bunkie Mikael Rechel goes into contact with Risto Capit, but the Estonian sweeps it around the outside. Great move from the Estonian. This could help Florian Hasse in trying to catch both of them. But yeah, we could potentially see drivers only choosing to change 2 tyres at this particular track, because it's less work.
I wonder if someone will risk that. It's definitely a possibility, but it has never really worked this season. Side by side.
Great racing. And is Rachel gonna surely not into the final corner? No, indeed. But you can see by value of how hard these two are fighting, how quickly Florian Hasse is now catching up onto the back. Yes, he's in a world of his own, but that means no dirty air, so he can run at his own pace. And with the pit stop window opening in 4, 3, 2, 1, and you'll see on the timing beams now, on the timing tower, sorry, the little red circle that's popped out once that turns green. That's your mandatory pit stop done and dusted. Florian Hasse now has the world as his oyster. It's down to him when to choose to pit.
And we can see some position changes here. Manuels and Gaffinen, that's another slowdown, I think. Oh, that's a huge slowdown. Might even be a technical problem.
Maybe. His teammate now passed him as Brzezinski and Puglisi go into battle. And that's similarly Puglisi attempting to defend off Brzezinski. This is the battle for P8 on track. Oh, I lie, sorry, it's the other way around. So Brzezinski's now on the inside of Puglisi and into the Mercedes corner. The Polish driver does stay ahead briefly. Puglisi goes a little bit deep though. A very Italian move, I might say, that one. But unfortunately, it is bit Puglisi and Brzezinski retakes P8. But look at this, Rob. Ben Spunky has sniffed an opportunity, and I don't think he's going to be letting it go.
Oh, and if Bunky gets past Keithley, that changes everything. All of a sudden, this P7 from Florian Hasse is going to be enough, because Keithley loses 10 points. And that might even, like, if things get a little bit more crazy, it might even put Bunky into contention for the championship.
Yeah, so let's look at the permutations for Ben Spunky then, of course, because we talk about Keithley, we talk about Hasse, but Ben Spunky with as much chance of winning this as anyone else. He needs Hasse to remain in he needs Hasse to drop further, I should say, rather, back to P13. He needs Keithley to drop further back to P4. So his mountain is bigger to climb. He needs luck more than anything. Not needing any luck himself, though, is Johannes Weiss. A very clear and cut move on the inside of the hairpin. And the German, on his debut in Server 1, is up onto the podium.
What a great performance by Johannes Weiss. Going past Alexander Roman, and you just wonder what could have been possible for Johannes Weiss if he would have been a little bit more often in this server here. Oh, and Bunky is right behind Keithley now. Now the battle starts. Lots of battles going on. Hasse up to P6, he's gone past Rechel.
Surely that's Rechel letting him through. Surely. Like, again, there's no teams championship, but they are stablemates. They are in the same team. So they'll be working together on setups and on race strategies. And so Hasse back up into P6 means that he's just one position away now from retaking the championship lead. Alternatively, Jack Keithley is one position away from losing the championship lead. Ben Spunky on the attack, although the Porsche clearly showing its colours through turn number 1.
Yeah, but that's also Keithley. That line was absolutely perfect. It was right on the edge. And look how strong the Mercedes is under braking there. That's surprising, but good exit from Keithley. Should be able to stay ahead because he gained a lot of time on the exit. But you will see the yellow Mann-filter Mercedes getting bigger and bigger and bigger in the rearview mirror of Jack Keithley here on the straight. And I think he has to go defensive this time around already.
There goes Ben Spunky to the outside of turn 1. And Jack Keithley taking the very middle of the road line. Cuts off the apex beautifully well. Not the first time that Jack Keithley's been called into defensive action this season. And when he has been called into defensive action, it's usually been very strong indeed. Ben Spunky now looking to the outside of the Mercedes corner. Again, not going to happen, but look at that. That front nose is just tucked underneath the rear wing. And it's not often that we see mistakes from Jack Keithley, but Ben Spunky doing his utmost to make something happen. Looking around the outside of that corner of Mobile 1. Not many moves around there. Not many moves around the outside of Sachs either. But goodness me, is Ben Spunky going to try it all over the back of Jack Keithley, and certainly looking the favourite to take the lead of the race in the next 5 minutes or so.
He's looking so quick at the moment. That's crazy. Johannes Weiss is gaining time as well on Keithley, so something must have happened to Keithley there. Maybe a slowdown penalty or so.
I think
see
it's
the
by
commitment.
virtue of battling, isn't it? By virtue of battling, they're slowing each other down, and that allows Weiss a chance to catch up.
Yeah, but I mean, Bunky wasn't really behind Keithley when we, when we were watching the other drivers there. So he gained a lot of time very quickly.
Through the parabolic and then yet more slipstream to be gobbled up for Bensbanki.
Oh, and Keithley has to defend so early here. Must be frustrating for him.
It's such a strong sector 1 as well, Rob. You saw how much time he gained and how much time Bensbanki's had to claw back through the slipstream. Up towards turn 7. Bensbanki goes to the outside. Keithley doesn't choose to defend the apex. Turns in just about the right time, and now for the cutback! Now for the cutback from Bensbanki, but he doesn't get it stopped in time. Keithley just squeezed on the brakes a little bit later. And again, excellent defending from the British driver.
Yeah, and Keithley did everything right there. He opened the brakes once again as he saw that Banki was diving on the inside, just to run a little bit wide, just to make sure that he can keep the position and also doesn't get hit there. But look in the background, look at the black Mercedes, that's Johannes Weiss. He's already on the podium right now. Will he really have a shot at the win here?
I mean, honestly, he's dragging Vermont with him as well. And if you're interested in the Hasser update, he's still about 2 seconds away from Risto Capit, so he might very well need the pit stops. Try and regain some time on leaders ahead. I'm pretty sure he will owe Bensbanki a drink at the Tuning World Bodensee if Bensbanki is able to get this overtake done. Because at the pace he's going, Rob, if he was to overtake Jack Keithley, I could see him running away with this.
Let's just check on Hasse here. He's quite close to Capet at the moment. He's got his teammate Michael Rechel behind him.
Going to be acting as rear gunner. Oh, this is much closer, isn't it? This is much closer than it was previously. Out the slipstream he goes to the outside of the hairpin. Going to try and sweep it completely around the outside is the Mercedes driver. And yet still Jack Keithley able to remain ahead. But Bensbanki's had a good exit himself on the inside of turn 7. Jack Keithley cannot keep him behind this time. And Bensbanki into the Mercedes corner is going to take the lead of this race. And with it, Florian Hasse is going to retake the lead of the championship, though Jack Keithley is not done yet. He switches back from the exit of turn 10, surely not into the inside of Mobile 1. No, Bensbanki had the grunt on that little mini straight. And so lead re-established for Bensbanki. Lead established for Bensbanki, the lead in the championship re-established for Florian Hasse.
Keithley so fast here in the final sector, a lot faster than Banki there, but he just can't find a way through, and now it will get difficult to stay with the Mercedes on the straight. I can imagine even in the slipstream he can just barely follow him. Johannes Weiss less than a second down on Keithley.
Well. We were expecting these Mercedes to be strong, and it's certainly living up to the promise. Mercedes 1, 3, and 4.
And also on 5.
And 5, yeah. Jack Keithley cutting a very lonely figure, although that was a real weak exit from Bensbanki. We're going to see just how good this Mercedes is on the straight by value of how he's pulling away despite that poor exit. You can see Jack Keithley now starting to reel him back in as the slipstream takes effect, but there is no opportunity to even offer an attack into turn number 6.
First drivers meanwhile into the pits. Matzik has made his mandatory pit stop. Beot has made this as well with the broken car, probably repaired now. I think Zengaffen is in the pits now as well.
That being Manuel Zengaffen and of course not Julian, who's still out on track. It's always difficult to keep an eye on those two. And Jack Keithley now starting to understand what Bensbanki was going through for the first 10 minutes of that race. 20 minutes even, I should say. Stuck in the slipstream, not much opportunity to overtake. But Bensbanki really picked his opportunity nicely, didn't he? He saved the tyres, very deliberately so. He can attack Keithley, who'd been pushing out front. And although Keithley remains a threat, you'd say with Bensbanki's better top-line speed, he's going to have more ammunition at his disposal to try and keep the Brit behind.
The lines from Keithley are still excellent though. We will see. Maybe Keithley has a flawless pit stop this time. It was not the case last time. He overshot his pit box actually.
And still won. It was a dominant race, all things considered, last time out at the Sachsenring. And so, A reminder, if the order stays as it is, Florian Hasse wins the championship. If Florian... Oh, gone wide!
Mistake.
Has Ben Spunky. And he's able to wrap it up just about. And look at that. Still able to pull away from Jack Keithley. This must be hugely frustrating for Jack to see such a big mistake. Not even punishable with the car at his disposal. A reminder though, he did have the opportunity to change that car before this race, as was the case with every other driver. Is what Ben Spunky's done, and he's done it to great effect. A reminder as well that if Florian Hasse is able to overtake Risto Capet ahead of him, then it doesn't matter where Jack Keithley finishes, he would still win the championship.
And I wonder if maybe Hasse is going to go a little bit early into the pits. Maybe now is a good opportunity, because it will be very difficult for him to pass. Oh, Bunky into the pits!
Calling it early is Ben Spunky.
That's a surprise, and Weiss into the pits as well. Romor staying out.
Hasse is usually one of the people to go as late
Weiss
as he can into the race.
Weiss has gained tons of time there on the pit lane entry. See, Hasse, he's staying out.
Yeah, he's usually one of the latest to pits. He's one of the latest to pit. And to be fair, he's picking up slipstream from Risto Capet ahead, so in theory he's actually gaining time on the straights. Puglisi in as well from the top 10. And so where does Ben Spunky rejoin? Does he rejoin into traffic?
Going again, he actually gained some time on Weiss, who's still standing there.
Pits now he goes. And
Was that a Williams car?
That
No,
is.
it's Vinny Oliveira.
Yeah, and is he going to let Banky go? Oh, Banky brakes very late into turn 2. Very aware that he's got a race lead to try and preserve. And I think just by value of the two different cars and their straight line speeds, Ben Spunky, yeah, should have this one wrapped up. That said, Vinny Oliveira going to have the slipstream himself. If I was Oliveira, I wouldn't fight this. But then again, why wouldn't you fight it? I guess in any case, he chooses that previous option. And again, Ben Spunky goes deep into the hairpin, wraps it up. That was a scary moment as Jack Keithley responds.
A super aggressive pit entry. Keithley in, Romor coming in as well. See Florian Hasse, he's in as well, so Capet takes the lead of the race.
And who's that also going around? Is that Brzezinski as well? So Florian Hasse in. This is the key pit stop, really, isn't it?
I think
This
Regular staying out as well, yeah.
As early a pit stop as I've seen Florian Hasse make, honestly. Before the halfway mark, that is a surprise. So Ben Spunky coming around the Sachs curve now. And into the final sector, we're going to see just how close it is with Jack Keithley on exit. In theory, the undercut should work, but it's not been the perfect outlap for Ben Spunky. So Jack Keithley's left his pit box. It is going to be pretty close on exit. Round the first corner we go with Ben Spunky, and there's Jack Keithley on the inside. But is he going to have the speed? No, he is not. Ben Spunky going to retake the lead of this race. Although, look at it, Jack Keithley braking super late into the second corner, bashing into Ben Spunky. And round the third corner, he does re-establish the lead.
What a move by Keithley, super aggressive on the pit exit. He knows that he has to win, he knows that he has to keep this menacing Mercedes behind him. Oh, now defending into the hairpin once again. Keithley on fresh tires, maybe they're not quite up to temperature. And there's Johannes Weiss in the background.
That outlap has cost Ben Spunky dearly.
Oh, but look where Florian Hasse is. Florian Hasse has lost a lot of time, I think. Oh, Bunky now trying to fight back. On the outside, this could work. This could work. Oh, just about.
Oh. Wait, what happened to Weiss?
Oh.
What happened to Johannes Weiss?
He's just standing there. Unbelievable. Probably a technical issue there, maybe a disconnect. Oh, and that's so unlucky. And that puts, even though Keithley has taken the lead, that really should put Hasse back into the P5 that he needs when everyone's been in the pits.
Yeah, where is he in comparison to Capit? That's the information we need. I mean, to be fair, it's Romont, and then there's a trio of guys who haven't pitted.
Hasse was stuck behind the Reviak here. Capit is actually like 4 seconds ahead of him. And Rechel is also ahead of him. Where is Rechel?
There he is.
There he is. And there's
and
also...
so actually, Hasse filters back into pretty much where he was previously. Rechel has gained a lot of time. But yeah, that's going to put Florian Hasse in... Wait. Not net P5. Look at Panebianco.
How did Panebianco get there?
He must have 2 tyre stopped as around the outside. Bent Bunky there. So I'm presuming that everyone has changed 4 tyres for the second half of this race, with the exception of Francesco Panebianco, who must have changed 2 to jump that many drivers. And is this a change for the lead? Finally, once again, Ben Spunky around the outside of the Mercedes corner. Oh, and Jack Keithley leaves him out to dry, and Ben Spunky almost goes into the back of Keithley. Can you tell these guys are ex-teammates? Flashing of the lights from Ben Spunky. It is not often you see him angry, but I think he feels that Jack Keithley going over the limit in this occasion.
And we can also confirm that Johannes Weiss is out of the race, so that's crushing.
What a shame.
On his way for a podium. Would have been his 2nd podium in an official RaceRoom race after the Avia competition in Spa. Not going to happen this time though. Stefanko in the pits, Zengaffinen, Julian Zengaffinen that is. He's leading the race at the moment. And Jan Courtois also coming in for a pit stop.
And so it is just Julian Zengaffinen, the man out of touch at the moment. And Francesco Panebianco throwing yet another twist into the tail.
You talked about it, that some people might go for a 2-tire change here.
Yeah.
And Panebianco obviously has done that, and it could work out for him, and it could work against Florian Hasse in the end. But first of all, Keithley has to win this race, of course, and Bunky has been all over him.
Can you imagine if we have 30 more minutes of this?
It's just
I wouldn't
crazy
complain.
race. Look at Romont, he's catching up as well now. Oh, and Bunky once again, such a good exit. I think this time he's got the position.
Surely. Yep. Not even hitting turn 7 and he was ahead. Jack Keithley going to break to the outside. And so that is the lead back for Ben Spunky. And with it, the championship lead back in the hands of Florian Hasse. And so with Julian Zengaffinen, I imagine, surely going to pit on this lap. Or is he going round again? Going round again is Julian Zengaffinen. Fair enough. Let's talk about our net leaders then. So net leader of the race is going to be Ben Spunky with Jack Keithley 2nd. Romont now onto the podium by value of Johannes Weiss retiring with a technical issue. Panebianco apparently going for a 2-tire stop strategy. Or rather, a 2-tire change pit stop strategy. Let's make sure that's as clear as possible. Risto Capit behind him with Florian Hasse still leading the championship in what is a net P6 position.
Rechel behind him, then Brzezinski, Benedek, who might also be on a 2-tire change strategy because he gained a lot of ground. And Puglisi, 11th now, but should be P10 when Zengaffinen comes into the pits.
Retirements from this race so far, Wisniewski, Baldi and Teot.
And also Johannes Weiss.
On track. And Johannes Weiss, of course. Who was full disconnected, sadly. And Jack Keithley, well, is there anything left in the tank, Rob, to try and overtake Ben Spunky with? Because he required a pit stop to overtake the Slovakian once before. He doesn't have that opportunity now again.
Bunky is so quick at the moment. Seems like actually now the Mercedes have a little bit better race pace than the Porsche.
But it's that classic problem, isn't it? The Porsches, they start well, but they have less of a curving ascendancy as the fuel amounts go down. As who's that diving up the inside? That's Philip Matzik there losing a position to David Noj for P14. Beautiful move for the Hungarian.
Battles all over the place. Panebianco is now getting caught. So it might not matter in the end that that Keithley lost the lead to Bunky. If Hasse gets past Panebianco, then Gaffinen as well, of course, then he doesn't need to get past Risto Capet, and his 5th position will be enough.
Yeah, Panebianco, he looks to be really struggling, doesn't he? And the longer he keeps Risto Capet behind, the longer he keeps backing him up into Florian Hasse's path. As much as the Italian has given us an intriguing twist halfway through this race, it might end up being the twist that actually sees Hasse's championship stick. Onto the back straight, and this will be a great opportunity for Risto Capet. Certainly a much stronger event for him than the Sachsenring just a week ago. Gaining is the Mercedes. To the outside he goes. Panebianco going defensive, breaking late is Capet. Looking to go around the outside to the hairpin, trying to cut across the nose of Panebianco, and Panebianco running him off the circuit, which will allow Florian Hasse through. Incredible scenes here, as Florian Hasse tries to dive through on the inside of turn 7. Oh, Capet's still going to have the inside of turn 8. They almost touch once again. And Risto Capet just about stays ahead. But Florian Hasse is inches away from taking the championship back into his control.
But it puts him back into the clutches of Rechel, of course, when they start fighting here. And also Brzezinski. Rechel is maybe not so important in this battle, because he's teammates with Florian Hasse in the Euronics gaming team. But Brzezinski, he's part of the Williams roster.
Surely Rechel going to be playing rear gunner to Florian Hasse. How incredible would it be to see a championship winner with no race wins? It hardly ever happens in motorsport. It's an amazing story when it does. And Risto Capet still unable to get past Panebianco. That was hard defending from Panebianco, honestly, Rob. If I was Risto Capet, I'd be pretty aggrieved from that.
Look at this. Takes Capet a lot longer than I thought to get past Panebianco. Definitely has a slower car at the moment because of the tire situation.
Panebianco, directly translated, means white bread. It's bread that Risto Capet wants to get. To the outside of the hairpin. Once again, he's going to try almost an identical maneuver to what he did last time. And once again, Panebianco leaves him out to dry like shopping on the line. Here goes the Audi then, and Florian Hasse once again up the inside of Risto Capet, side by side through turn 7. But he's got to concede as Risto Capet once again remains in P6. Oh, Panebianco goes deep though, could allow a look in from Risto Capet. No, able to bring it back into line. Oh, what a fascinating fight we have on our hands here. And Jack Keithley's only lost more time. Things could go from bad to worse as Alexander of Romont fancies his chances of net P2.
Keithley's really struggling at the moment. Just this performance of the Porsche throughout the race. We haven't really seen it so far in the season because Keithley has been so dominant. Here it just becomes clear. Oh, and there's the move.
Up the inside of the penultimate corner, and that was a big cut from Panebianco. And Florian Hasse needs to make this stick now. Oh my goodness, he's going to try it through turn 1.
Oh, we've seen...
Oh, he has to back out. Yeah.
He has to back out there. That's risky. He's taking a lot of risks here.
And it couldn't have happened any worse for him, really. Risto Capet now going to have the length and breadth of the Parabolica to his will. No slipstreaming for Florian Hasse behind to try and keep up with him. You can look how much time he's gained already. And Panebianco now starting to fall like a stone. It was a bold call, Cotton, to go with that sort of strategy, especially when everyone else is going for a four tire stop. But look at that undercut. That's beautiful work from Florian Hasse on an exit. You can see the advantage of changing all 4 tires. The grip supreme. The move was clean. And Florian Hasse's back through into P6.
Great move from him. Oh, Brzezinski now. Brzezinski knows that he has to, if he wants to keep Keithley in the championship, he is the one who has to get close to Hasse now. But oh, Panebianco and Rechel side by side. Rechel behind. Oh, aggressive move.
Oh, surely not into the Saxon. Yeah, I was going to say, Brzezinski, you know better than that. You know better than that, Kuba. And he backs out of it at the last moment. 20 minutes left of what has been an enthralling final round here in the online championship phase of the RDSA GT Masters Esports Championship. The lights are flashing for Michael Rekel. He's alerting Panabianco. Yeah, I'm going to be going for a move at some point. I need to go support my teammate. So fascinating that we have the two teammates here almost battling for the honor of the guys further up front.
And don't forget that this whole situation only started because Hasse had this screen freeze or whatever it was. He's very lucky to even still be in a race. Otherwise, he probably would have been a bit further up the road.
And still, Julian Zangaffinen hasn't pitted, Rob. He needs to do it in the next 4 minutes. Otherwise, he's DSQ'd for not following pit orders.
Brzezinski on the outside late on the brakes here, but it could work because Rechel gets held up there by Panebianco.
Oh,
what a nice move.
That is gorgeous. That might be moving the race. Maybe not in terms of the context of the championship, just in terms of class. Oozing from Kuba Brzezinski there, and that's a great move that sees him up into P8.
Now he has to find a way past Panebianco here. Hasse is still inside. Keithley is losing the back of Bunky though.
2 seconds clear now.
Not gonna work there.
Zangaffinen's in. There we go. Finally, Julian Zangaffinen comes into the pits as Panabianco still struggles around this final sector. Brzezinski forced to remain behind for now. But Bence Bunky then confirmed leader of the race. With 18.5 minutes remaining, Keithley second, Romont third. Cap it up to P4 and Hasser up to P5.
And of course, that's what he needs. P5 will secure the championship. It will be a 5-point difference in the overall standings if everything stays as it is right now. Oh, and Romont. Romont is passing Keithley.
Still doing it. Oh, went a little bit deep into the hairpin, trying on the cut. Oh, what a beautiful cutback that is as well. Oh, contact between the two. He's actually choosing to exchange paint jobs with Jack Keithley, almost as a sign of dominance, I'd say. And Alexandra Romond heaps the misery on Jack Keithley. A little love nudge on the rear left there of Romond's car from Keithley, who's still struggling to get on through. But look at this, the cutback actually working. He's going to be on the inside of Mobile 1, and the Brit is able to retake P2. Excellent driving from Jack Keithley, although you can tell it is born out of a bit of desperation. The two banging sides once again.
Romont, he's proven that he's pretty aggressive in the battles. And now he's driving against one of the toughest opponents on the grid, Jack Keithley. Trying everything to get up into the second position to make it an Oscaro 1-2.
Now 5 seconds, 6 seconds clear of Bence Bunky is Jack Keithley. At the very least, Alexandre Romont is proving to be a thorn in his side, allowing his teammate to move further up the order. And speaking of moving further up the order, that's what's happened to Kuba Brzezinski, of course, with that pit stop of Julian Zangaffinen, of course. He wants to try and make his way past the now languishing Panabianco as quickly as possible. But the Italian is doing super well on the defense. Not well enough, though, to prevent a move around the outside, perhaps. Kuba Brzezinski banging wheels again with the Italian, and that is brilliant once again from Kuba Brzezinski. Elbows were out on this occasion, and Panabianco loses 2 positions for the price of 1, with Rechel buying into the deal. And Florian Hasse, while all this has been going on, has caught up to Risto Capit, no doubt. Look at this on the inside of turn 7 once again. It was an awful entrance to the corner for both of them, but Hasse got the greater swing back. Capit on the inside of the Mercedes arena. Surely Hasse's not going to be able to swing it around the outside. Surely not. No. No. Oh, Florian Hasse, what a move that was. P4, deservedly so.
Brilliant move. Brzezinski, meanwhile, and Rechel past Panebianco. That was the outcome that only happened. And I think Capit is now struggling a bit in the Mercedes. Florian Hasse, he mentioned it. When it comes to the tires, when it comes to the end of the race, also on low fuel, that Audi is really, really strong.
He's 13 seconds away from that podium battle between Vermont and Keithley, but it doesn't matter If he finishes P4, the championship is his.
I think this is also maybe a little bit of consolation for Keithley, that it's not because of the Mercedes here that he's going to lose this title. Oh, yeah. Brzezinski has lost the place to Rechel.
He has indeed.
Oh, he's coming back though.
Here on the inside, he's going to remain in that P7. But again, that Porsche in the late race. Fighting Kuba Brzezinski. Definitely one of his stronger outings this season. It's been a disappointing season overall, I'd say, for Kuba, honestly.
Yeah, it was pole sitter.
By poor qualifyings.
Pole sitter at Oschersleben at the first race, but then all got a little bit worse. Rechel on the outside now into the hairpin.
It's well defended. Panabianco just a spectator at this stage.
Yeah, and Julian Zingaffinen slotted back into P9 there.
With fresh tyres as well.
Yeah. Yeah, got the freshest tyres out of all of them. Here's the Iron Force battle. ADAC has been overtaken by Puglisi.
Both of these guys surprisingly outside the top 10 though, Rob. It's Jaroslav Honzik who's had a very quiet race up to P10.
Yeah, Honzik, one of these guys who hasn't really performed in this race. A couple of other guys as well. David Notch only in P16 at the moment. Of course, Moritz Löhner. No idea what happened to him, but he's rounding out the field at the moment in P26.
Stefanko down there in P15 as well.
Yeah, both of the GT Omega cars behind each other, and they are behind Philipp Matzik there, the teammate of Johannes Weiss, driving in P13.
That's our reading. We need to go back up to this battle with Romont and Keithley. Onto the Parabolica once again. And I don't know about you, Rob, but it does seem like, looking back on it now, Keithley's just got a bit of a chokehold on the position, because since that rough moment where Vermont looked like he was going to overtake Keithley at every corner, Jack's looked pretty confident and solid, actually. Vermont's not been able to get into the areas which he was just 5 minutes ago.
Yes, and once again you can see these perfect lines from Keithley there. Just knows exactly how much track he can use without getting a penalty from the game. I've seen this throughout the season. Even if he's not going to win the championship here, in my opinion, he's the most impressive driver of the season in terms of his performances, because if he was on the pace, then he was like truly on the pace.
And he missed the first round, Rob.
Yeah, and he had a couple of races like Red Bull Ring where everything went wrong and where you also certainly didn't have a car in which he could win. And then Zandvoort, where he kind of threw it away. I mean, imagine if he would have won at Zandvoort, then this result would be enough to win the title easily.
Zandvoort, I feel, was the turning point. That was where the Jack Keithley, enveloped by red mist, turned up.
Got only 60 points, could have been 100 points, but that would have been 40 points more. Actually 45, of course, compared to Hasse, who would have lost the position in the end to Keithley. And yeah, these 45 points, they would win him the title at the moment.
So just over 10 minutes left of the online season to go then. And it is Benz Bunky who holds a
comfortable... Oh, Honzik, what happened to Honzik? He probably got like a 5-minute slowdown there in the first corner. Completely stationary.
5-minute slowdown?
I don't know. He's still not going.
Well, there goes his P10. And Puglisi will pick that up. Now looking at Martin Stefanko. On his teammate, Roman Ivanov. Looking to the outside of the hairpin, and Stefanko not going to do anything on this occasion. Perhaps the cutback. Roman Ivanov really held up behind Philipp Matzik, the German struggling in these late stages. Not that this really matters too much, of course. Both Ivanov and Stefanko qualifying within the top 20 as things stand. Most
yeah,
of course. Going to go as teammates as well, I imagine, surely.
Yes, a couple of team pairings have already been confirmed. So Philipp Matzik, he will go with Johannes Weiss. We will have Ivanov and Stefanko teaming up with each other. Hasse and Kunze, that's a strong one. Of course, Bunky and Roman. Rechel will team up with Jaroslav Honzik. You'll have Courtois and Baumler. Vega and Vigneron. Bernard Weller will team up with Balint Benedek. And the most surprising one, probably, the Williams pairings. Keithley will team up with Brzezinski.
Not Lerner.
No, not Lerner. Lerner will team up with Wisniewski.
Oh. That seems like Williams are spreading...
Ooh, Matzik! We were looking at the back of him, but he's actually going for the move.
Didn't even see that.
Ooh, Benedek losing 3 positions at once here.
Yikes.
Maybe even 4, because David Notch is right behind him.
That seems pretty brash from Philip Matzik. And actually, I've noticed up the road as well, Puglitzi's taken Julian St. Gaffinen. I'm wondering whether the Swiss driver's done what Panabianco's done and only switched 2 tires.
Oh, contact in the hairpin, and Matzik's almost around. How did he save that? Great save there.
Still P11 after all that. He's got a right gaggle of geese behind him now, hasn't he? Stefanko, Ivanov, Noj and Benedek all in close pursuit. Noj going around the outside of Roman Ivanov. And Ivanov just about holds on. This has been an entertaining final. More races of the Hockenheim race, please, or the Hockenheimring, please. Such a good track to go to. So many great overtaking opportunities, and there may yet be one final overtake to happen in the top 5. Bristol Capit seems to have recaptured some earlier pace. Florian Hasse might have lost some, to be fair.
To be fair, it doesn't really matter for Hasse. Even if Keithley wins the race, he can finish P4 or P5. Doesn't matter. He will win the championship either way. And at the moment, Keithley only in P2, so that gives him even a larger gap in the points.
There's still the better part of 8 minutes left, Rob.
Yeah, and then
all it takes is 2 seconds.
Yeah, just
for a screen freeze to see you fall further back.
Or such a slow run like Honzik picked up. Will not be happy. You can probably watch it on his stream there, flaming the game. After that slowdown, but I can understand that that was a pretty harsh slowdown, and I think Panebianco lost a lot of time there. Where is Panebianco? There he is.
P9.
Passed by his teammate Puglisi.
Well. Yeah.
Us Racing Team, one of the teams that's just getting stronger and stronger.
I like these two. I think there's a lot of potential there. They just kind of jumped into the deep end straight away, though. And to be fair to them, they are starting to learn to swim at the top end of things.
Yeah, Puglisi had a few DNFs this season.
Yeah.
Didn't really fulfill his potential yet, but I think he's still, you know, one of the... I don't know if he's a young driver or not, but he's one of these drivers who doesn't have quite as much experience as someone like Keithley or Bunky, who's done tons of RaceRoom championships. So I think in the future, these two, you know, we can look forward to it. Oh, and Matzik here under lots of pressure by Stefanko.
P11, considering where he qualified, would be a good result for Stefanko. Clearly off the pace once again.
Keithley is closing on Bunky, by the way. Just a little... Oh, now he lost it again. Might be the timing. But he's definitely gapped for more.
Well, the gap was 6 seconds, Rob. It's down to 4 or 5 seconds now.
It come a little bit too late.
I think Banky's just cruising now, honestly. He's got a gap to play with. You might as well use it and save the tyres. Stefanko looks to the outside here, into the hairpin.
It's just clean around the outside.
Lovely. Lovely jubbly. Although Matzik does have a little bit of purchase on the inside here. You can see him just slightly rubbing up against the rear right of Stefanko's car. Stefanko going unnecessarily wide. Matzik braking very late into the Mercedes corner. But look at that great cutback from the Porsche. And then Stefanko through into P11. And he's got his teammate Roman Ivanov supporting him, trying to keep Matzik off his tail.
Can Stefanko get into the top 10? Zengaffinen and Panebianco.
Yeah, they're just there, aren't they?
Yeah, they're just up the road. Yeah,
Panebianco really struggling now, and well, whether Zengaffernan has changed for 2 tyres or 4, he's still got a fresher set regardless. Let's talk about this guy, Rob. Ben Spunky. If the order stays as it is, Florian Hasse will win the championship. Thanks in no large part to this man's efforts in overtaking Jack Keithley. It will be Banky's 2nd win of the season, bookmarking it, I like to call it. Rob, he won the first round, and it looks like he's going to be winning the final one. Bookmarking? Bookending. That's the wrong phrase. Silly James. Say it right the first time round.
Oh, here the battle starts now, really. Zengaffernan trying against Panebianco. Matzik under attack from Ivanov behind. Because they all want to qualify. They all want to get one of these spots for their team in the final. Panebianco especially, he's quite far down in the championship order. He needs a good result here.
Will P9 do it for him? I think it might very well do. I mean, he's rolled the dice, hasn't he? He's risked a lot to get to where he is. And to be fair to him, he's only got 3.5 minutes left to try and fend off Julian Zengaffernan and the chasing pack behind. I think a top 10 would be very well deserved.
Oh, big mistake there from Panebianco.
That's surely a slowdown. No. Or well, he might have got it. He's just going to do it later. Defends into turn 1, but you can see how much those tyres are struggling to keep him on the road. And you can see there Martin Stefanko closing and closing on these 2 now. Julian Zengaffernan to the outside of turn 2. Stefanko with this battle for P9. And I feel like something's going to happen at the hairpin, Rob. I can just tell. Up the slipstream. Panebianco going to go to the inside of the hairpin. Oh, look at Zengaffernan was hoping to find a gap there. Couldn't find it. Going to try around the outside. Panebianco brakes very nicely indeed. And holds onto the position. That's excellent driving to get it stopped in time.
So let's check with Ben Spunky. He's about to start the 2nd to last lap here. Keithley has caught up a little bit, but it won't be enough for him to catch Bunky here. Oh, and Zengaffernan has lost the place too. Oh, and he's got the slowdown there. Let's stick around the outside.
There you go. There's Stefanko on the outside of Panebianco. And the Italian will know he's not got much time left. Roman Ivanov looking to force his way up the inside of Matzik through Sachs. That's not come off either. Martin Stefanko in the top 10. What a recovery. Despite clearly not being on the pace, he's been able to make something work. Speaks volumes of the caliber of driver.
Slow down for Ivanov.
Yep. Ivanov back to P14. Keep in mind as well, Risto Cabot pretty close to Florian Hasse as well for P4.
He's checking one last time here on Stefanko. Trying everything that he can get past Panebianco for P9 now.
Stakes have changed a lot throughout this race, all throughout the field. Stefanko to the outside. Looking for the cutback, but again, Panebianco just takes the perfect line. That said, Stefanko takes the most beautiful of cutbacks. What drive out of the corner. And that should be game, set and match to Martin Stefanko into Mercedes corner. Letter sent.
Nice move, and I think Risto Capet has gone off trying to get past Florian Hasse because he's lost a lot of time.
Yeah,
Hasse now ahead of him, and we are on the final lap. Let's talk about this one here. Ben Spunky, the right move by swapping to the Mercedes for the final race. He won the opener at Oschersleben, the Oscaro Esports by SDL driver, reigning Esports WTCR champion. Great season, but it will be P3 in the championship for him in the end. Jack Keithley, super impressive season. Lots of poles, lots of wins. Not quite the win this time, but Wouldn't have been enough anyway for the Englishman. Great performance in the Porsche, so precise all the time. Alexandre Roumont, looking like his first podium of the season for the Frenchman. Also part of the Oscaro roster. And then this man, he's our championship elect. Florian Hasse, he had a really scary race here. And this screen freeze or whatever it was, which dropped him back. It seems like it will still be enough for him. P4, that's enough to win the championship on his own accord, not needing the help by anyone, not needing Bunky's help. Be the championship title for the Euronics Gaming driver.
So around in the final couple of corners then, he won the first ever RDRC GT Masters Esports Championship race. And in the online season, he is going to finish off what has been a good campaign with his second. It's Ben Spunky at the Hockenheimring who wins in his new Mercedes. Jack Keithley picks up his first podium result with it not being a win. Strange to say it like that, I realise. He misses out. Romont picks up his first podium of the season. And this man in P4, Florian Hasse, without winning a single race, has just become the first ever online season RDSA GT Masters Esports champion. Incredible work from the German, incredible consistency all season. An amazing job all round. The rest of your top 10 were rounded out by Kapit Brzezinski, Rechel Puglitzi, Stefanko and Panabianco making the 2 tyre change strategy work. Your retirements from this race were Kirill Antonov, Guillaume Deot, Gergo Baldi and Nikitin Wisniewski.
Congratulations to Florian Hasse. Made a risky move by swapping to the Audi here for the Hockenheim race, but he survived it. Wins the online multiplayer championship, and he's ready for the final at the Tuning World Bodensee. We will see another duel between Euronics and Williams. Between Hasse and Keithley, of course, and maybe Oscaro in the mix as well. All of the top drivers are confirmed to be attending the Tuning World Bodensee final, which will happen on the 5th of May. We will stream this in 2 languages, actually, in German and in English. So stay tuned for that. And here we've got the race results. Bunky wins ahead of Keithley and Romont with the fastest lap, 36.5. But the champion, that's Florian Hasse from Euronics Gaming.
Yeah, after such a disappointing Sachsenring as well, that's going to give Romont the boost of confidence that I think he so sorely needed. He's got something out of this season to hold on to now. And I'm going to be quite sad, honestly. I'm not going to be joining you guys for the live final out there. It's beautiful scenery, so if you do have the time, then absolutely go. It's going to be an awesome, awesome event. But what a season it has been overall. The strategy has been fascinating to watch. Seeing Keithley rise up through the order after what was effectively a non-start, of course. Didn't take part in the first race of the season. And yeah, it starts with a clean slate, I guess, Rob. Tuning World Bodensee live final, new format, new chances to win. The question is, who is? It is anybody's game, I'd say.
Yes, indeed. It will be very interesting to see who's going to take the victory in the final event at the Tuning World Bodensee. Here we have the car of Florian Hasse, which he just took for the final race. So technically, we have a champion in an Audi and in a Corvette. Because he raced both of these cars in the season. Took a few more points in the Corvette, to be fair. But yeah, still, if you want to come to the Tuning World Bodensee, of course, you can watch the race live there. If you're attending, make sure to check out the RaceRoom Esports circuit. That's what it's called. You can also drive there. You can try out the 3Motion simulator, for example. So it will be very cool to see you there in person, not only here as a name in the chat. So James, what a season it was.
What a season it was. Fingers crossed we can do it all over again in the future. But for now, at least, the live Tuning World Bodensee final awaits. Fascinating to see how that all turns out. A reminder, the 5th of May is the day that you're looking for, whether you're coming live or whether you're going to be watching from home. It's all the same places. to tune in. So be sure to check the RaceRoom Twitter for all of the news on that front. And now I guess it's time to say goodbye. It's always sad, but it has to happen. Thank you all very so much for watching, whether you've watched all of the rounds or if you've just tuned in for your first one here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your support means the world. Massive thank you to Mr. Rob Wiesenmüller and the team over at RaceRoom Racing Experience. It's always a pleasure to work with these guys. Brilliant people. I've been James Kirk, and from all of us here, we hope you have a great rest of your weekend. You take care.